Beneath the glittering waves humans admire, there is another world. A world where light slowly dies, food is scarce, and life is pushed to its absolute limit. Down there, if you are small, fast, or fragile, you die. There are no second chances. In this cold, silent hell, nature chose an extreme solution. Turn ordinary creatures into terrifying giants. Not to scare humans, but to survive years of starvation, crushing pressure, and eternal darkness. So, what forced life to grow bigger in a place where it should have vanished? If you want to keep uncovering the secrets of the deep sea, comment 1 right now. This phenomenon is not a myth. It is not an exaggeration of human imagination. Deep sea gigantism is real, and it appears again and again in places where sunlight never reaches. Below 1,000 meters, familiar creatures suddenly become wrong. A simple sea bug transforms into a half-meter-long giant crustacean. A jellyfish stretches wider than an entire room. And somewhere in total darkness, a squid with eyes the size of basketballs watches in silence. The fear isn't the size. The fear is the question behind it. Why does the deep sea favor giants? Temperatures hover near freezing. Pressure is strong enough to crush steel. Food can disappear for years at a time. And yet, instead of shrinking to save energy, many species do the opposite. They grow larger, they slow down, they wait. Scientists believe the eternal cold slows metabolism, increases dissolved oxygen, and turns large size into a survival advantage. Less frequent feeding, better pressure resistance, and near immunity to predators. A giant body isn't just a shape, it's an energy vault. It's armor. It's patience, fossilized by millions of years of evolution. But this is only the surface. We still don't know the true limits of this gigantism, or how many creatures remain unseen. If you believe there are still giants hiding at the bottom of the ocean, comment 1. If you think we've already seen almost everything, comment 0. If one force first bent the rules of biological size, it was cold. Not the cold of winter, but a permanent chill just above freezing, where biological time itself slows down. After deep-sea giants emerged, the darker question became, what keeps them alive? Thousands of meters below the surface, seawater rarely exceeds 4 degrees Celsius. In this environment, every chemical reaction slows. Hearts beat slower. Muscles respond later. Life runs in extreme power-saving mode. For most organisms, this is a death sentence. For deep-sea dwellers, it is a lethal advantage. A slow metabolism means minimal energy loss, allowing survival through months, even years, without food. A large body becomes a critical energy reserve, not a burden. They don't hunt constantly. They wait. In darkness, in silence, even more unsettling. Cold water holds more oxygen than warm water. This is the deep sea's survival paradox. In the harshest environment on Earth, conditions exist that allow massive bodies to breathe efficiently. What tropical oceans cannot support great size, the frozen abyss quietly nurtures. The cold does not kill life here. It rewrites it. And when temperature becomes the new law, size is simply the consequence. But cold is not the only force bearing down on these creatures. In the next chapter, an invisible power even more ruthless awaits. Pressure. If cold slows life, oxygen is what keeps the giants from suffocating. It sounds like a paradox, but in the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean, life breathes in an environment richer in oxygen than we expect. And that realization has sent a chill through scientists. The deep sea is not airless. It is simply silent. Cold water holds dissolved oxygen far better than warm water. As temperature drops, oxygen molecules become trapped, less likely to escape. The result is that at depths of thousands of meters where the water stays near freezing, oxygen becomes a stable, long-lasting resource. For small creatures, this is just enough to survive. For giants, it is a requirement for existence. A massive body means billions of cells that must be fed. In warm oceans, that size would quickly become a death sentence. Oxygen transport would fail, tissues would slowly die. But in the deep sea, abundant oxygen allows life to push its limits. Thicker tissues, larger muscles, bigger eyes, all functioning without choking. The frightening truth is this: life down here doesn't breathe fast. It breathes enduringly. Slow, deep, steady, stretching across time spans humans could never tolerate. The suffocation doesn't come from lack of oxygen, but from knowing that if these conditions vanished, the entire giant world would collapse instantly. Yet, oxygen, despite its abundance, is still not the greatest challenge. Something else is crushing every cell, every molecule, every rhythm of life. The unimaginable pressure of the deep ocean. If oxygen lets you breathe again, pressure immediately steals that breath away. At 4,000 meters deep, the ocean presses down with over 400 times atmospheric pressure, enough to crush steel, bend metal, and erase surface life in an instant. And yet, inside this colossal grinding machine, life does not disappear. It changes shape. Pressure does not attack like cold or hunger. It silently warps cells, compresses membranes, and breaks protein structures. For small organisms, a large surface area relative to volume means each cell bears more force. But in large bodies, the ratio flips. More volume, less surface. Pressure spreads out instead of crushing each unit of life. Once again, size becomes a shield. Inside deep-sea giants, there are no gas-filled cavities, the first things to collapse. Instead, there is soft tissue, fluid, and flexible structure, allowing them to compress without imploding. A large body is no longer a burden. It becomes a stable mass, standing firm against relentless force. The horror lies in the stillness. No impacts, no shaking, only constant pressure, unbroken for millions of years. In that environment, the small, the weak, and the poorly adapted vanished long ago. Only those large enough, slow enough, and patient enough remained. But oxygen and pressure still don't fully explain why such massive bodies are worth sustaining, because an even colder question waits ahead. When food nearly doesn't exist, how does a giant avoid starving? This is where the energy laws of the deep sea begin to reveal themselves. There is an ancient biological rule often associated with polar bears and mammoths that reaches all the way down to the ocean floor. Bergmann's rule. It states that in cold environments, larger bodies retain heat more efficiently. And in the deep sea, where cold never loosens its grip, this rule becomes both logical and terrifying. Large bodies have less surface area relative to volume, meaning heat escapes more slowly. On land, this helps warm-blooded animals survive winter. But on the seafloor, where temperatures hover near freezing year-round, the rule is pushed to its extreme. There is no summer recovery, no warm moment to regain lost heat, fail to retain energy, and life fades quietly. Deep-sea creatures, though mostly cold-blooded, face the same energy equation. Every calorie lost to cold may never be replaced. In a world where food is rare, retaining heat means retaining life. A large body acts as a stable thermal mass, reducing energy loss and allowing survival between scarce meals. What stunned scientists is this: size doesn't just protect against predators or pressure, it allows life to save itself, one fraction at a time. Here, being big isn't about power, it's about losing less. Less heat, less energy, fewer mistakes. Bergmann's rule shows that deep-sea gigantism is not random. It is the outcome of precise, merciless laws where size becomes the only tool against an unforgiving world. But retaining heat still isn't enough, because beyond cold, oxygen, and pressure, the deep sea hides its cruelest enemy: hunger. Contrary to the image of a life-filled ocean, the abyss is a massive nutritional desert where food is rarer than water and sand. And here again, size flips survival logic upside down. Below 1,000 meters, light disappears completely. No plants, no photosynthesis, no new energy. Entire ecosystems depend on marine snow, tiny organic fragments drifting down from the surface. But most of it is consumed long before reaching the depths. What remains barely supports minimal existence. In such a world, eating often is fatal. Small creatures with fast metabolisms burn through energy and vanish. Giants play a different game: grow large, slow down, and wait. Their massive bodies store fat, tissue, and energy enough to survive months, even years, without food. A single rare meal can sustain a giant for an unimaginable length of time. Even more unsettling, the deep sea rewards patience. When a whale carcass finally falls a rare rain of life, the giants arrive. Not in panic, not in chaos. They feed slowly, methodically, extracting every gram of energy, turning one death into years of survival for an entire community. In this frozen desert, life doesn't win by speed. It wins by time. And this still isn't the final advantage of size. In the next chapter, one more factor will force you to rethink everything. Sometimes, growing large isn't just about survival. It's about not being eaten. In a world where every calorie is more precious than gold, the deep sea does not reward the fastest, it chooses the most patient. From this reality emerges a survival strategy that astonishes humans. Big, slow, long-lasting. No speed, no bursts, no explosive reproduction. Instead, life here stretches time to the extreme. Deep-sea giants do not grow fast. They grow inch by inch, over years, sometimes decades. Their slow metabolism minimizes energy loss. A giant crustacean can go months without eating. Some deep-sea fish hunt only when success is nearly guaranteed. They do not waste energy on hopeless chases in the dark. What truly shocks scientists is longevity. The Greenland shark, resident of cold, deep waters, can live over 400 years. It matures so slowly that reproduction may take more than a century. By surface standards, this looks like evolutionary failure. But in the deep sea stable, quiet, and unchanged for millions of years, it is perfection. Fewer offspring, but a far higher chance of survival. The big, slow, long strategy also reduces competition. When everything is scarce, fewer individuals mean fewer conflicts. No fighting, no territory wars. Life survives by staying unnoticed. Here is the unsettling truth. The deep sea runs on a different clock. While the surface changes year by year, the abyss changes by centuries. And within this stretched timeline, giant creatures are not anomalies, they are the most logical outcome of an environment pushed to the absolute limit. In the eternal darkness of the deep sea, size is not just a shape, it is a warning. Where there is nowhere to hide, no coral, no light to confuse the eye, becoming large is the clearest message life can send. Don't touch me. And down there, that message usually works. For many species, size is living armor. The giant isopod, with its thick shell and heavy sealed body, is a risk few predators are willing to take. In a world where every attack costs precious energy, predators choose smaller, easier prey, and the giant survives. But size is not only defense. For predators, it becomes pure offense. Giant squid and colossal squid wield tentacles meters long, lined with rotating hooks sharp as blades. They do not chase, A single extension in the darkness is enough to lock onto a target. The deep scars found on sperm whales are silent proof of battles between giants fought entirely beyond human sight. Even creatures that appear fragile, like giant jellyfish, exploit size. Their massive bodies make them impossible to swallow, while venomous tentacles turn every approach into a lethal gamble. In the deep sea, survival does not belong to the fastest, but to the one who makes others hesitate. Size here is the most terrifying kind of silence. A power that does not need to show itself, yet alters every decision in the dark. Where sunlight cannot reach, the rules we know on land collapse. In absolute darkness, the threat from predators fades, and this is where predation release takes over. When predators become rare, prey are no longer forced to be small, fast, or hidden. Large size, slow movement, even visibility become advantages, allowing creatures to dominate space with little competition or danger. Imagine a massive shrimp drifting slowly through the abyss. On the surface, it would be easy prey, but in the deep sea, there is no one left to hunt it. Its size becomes a shield protecting it, while granting access to scarce food without interference. Likewise, colossal squid do not flee from sharks. They use mass and strength to dominate hunting grounds, something impossible in shallow waters. This creates a world that is both alien and unsettling. The weak do not always perish, and the strong do not need speed or cunning. Here, space, size, and endurance are the true keys to survival, rewriting every rule we thought we understood. This release from predation pressure is what allows giants to exist and thrive, shaping massive, bizarre living machines that leave humans staring in disbelief. In the deep sea, every battle is silent, and survival belongs to those who understand the rules of darkness. Beneath the still surface of the abyss, time itself seems to stop. This is an ancient world, preserved for millions of years, untouched by storms, tides, or seasons. Evolutionary pressure here is gentler than in shallow waters, allowing giants to grow slowly, mature late, and refine their bodies in ways unimaginable on land. Picture a giant isopod little changed since the age of dinosaurs calmly crawling across black sand. No rush, no swarms of predators. It evolves at the ocean's pace. Absolute darkness, crushing pressure, and freezing temperatures create a rare stability, giving life the chance to optimize size and strategy beyond what shallow seas could ever allow. This stability brings an unexpected advantage. Less competition, less pressure, and time. Enough time to become enormous. The only predators left are highly specialized, slow, but terrifyingly efficient. Every movement here is tense. Every encounter is dangerous. Yet each is also an opportunity to claim territory and scarce resources. This world is, quite literally, a living museum of evolution, both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Every giant creature, every squid, every strange form is proof of life adapted to absolute stability and endless time. This is a place where surface rules no longer apply, where size, lifespan, and the ability to wait become the ultimate survival weapons. In the deep sea, wonder and horror exist side by side, and the mystery remains far from solved. Beneath the black water, where light never reaches, the deep ocean opens into a near-endless realm, one where the rules of surface evolution no longer apply. Here, isolation and extreme sparsity create a vast playing field. With little competition and few enemies, life is free to push its limits. Space is abundant, rivals are rare, pressure is low. Not physical pressure, but evolutionary pressure. And that freedom allows creatures to grow enormous, test radical survival strategies, and optimize their bodies in ways shallow waters could never allow. Imagine a colossal squid drifting through zones of crushing pressure, not dodging swarms of fast predators, but moving freely, fully expressing the size and power evolution has granted it. In this world, the limits on size, speed, and camouflage are reversed. Giants do not survive by running or hiding, but by isolation, absolute stability, and time. Time to grow, mature, and endure. This is a world where loneliness becomes a survival advantage. Species can live for centuries, mature late, and reach sizes that sunlit seas can only dream of. Every giant is living proof of evolutionary freedom, a place where nature is allowed to experiment without interruption. That emptiness and open space also create a feeling that is both awe-inspiring and unsettling. Every creature that appears feels entirely new. Every massive shadow, every slow movement under infinite pressure reminds us that the deep sea is not just a habitat. It is a grand evolutionary laboratory where the limits of life can be torn apart and rewritten. Under crushing pressure and absolute darkness, deep sea life doesn't just survive, it evolves reproduction itself in a radically different way. When food is a rare gift and life spans centuries, producing countless offspring in the hope that a few survive is wasted energy. Instead, K-selection rules the abyss. Quality over quantity. Each egg, each offspring, each generation is heavily invested in nutrients, protection, and resilience so that when life begins, it has a real chance in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Picture a Greenland shark. It takes decades to mature, but every offspring is given a powerful start, strong enough to face pressure, cold, and starvation. Slow growth and deep investment turn each individual into a living marvel, not just surviving, but dominating its world. Here, reproduction is a long game. Evolution does not rush. Giants live long, mature late, reproduce rarely, but with extraordinary success. It is a perfect balance with the deep sea's slow, stable rhythm, completely unlike the frantic, competitive world of shallow waters. K-selection is not just a lifestyle here. It is a weapon. In a world where every mistake means death, patience becomes power. From giant squids to Greenland sharks, each massive creature is evidence of life optimized to perfection, energy, time, and survival refined to their limits. A reality that leaves scientists both amazed and uneasy. Centuries ago, sailors spoke of the Kraken, a monstrous force from the deep, with tentacles large enough to drag ships into the abyss. For generations, these stories lived in myth and fear. But when modern science finally reached the deep ocean, the truth turned out to be even more astonishing. The creatures once dismissed as legend giant squid, Greenland sharks, colossal crustaceans, massive cnidarians are real. And they are enormous beyond expectation. They live where light cannot reach, and pressure would crush a human in seconds. The myths were not wrong. They were simply incomplete. Human fear and curiosity sensed something true. The deep ocean really is a world of giants. Every deep-sea dive, every new observation, every rediscovered species reminds us how small our knowledge truly is. This ancient, stable world, unchanged for millions of years, has allowed life to evolve toward extreme size, extreme longevity, and flawless survival strategies. And the mystery is far from over. We have explored less than 5% of the ocean. Every descent raises new questions. Are there giants we have never seen? Survival mechanisms we do not yet understand? Each massive creature is a living testament to the power of adaptation, proof that the deep sea holds not just life, but secrets science is still struggling to unlock. The deep ocean remains largely unexplored, a realm where giants challenge the limits of biology and imagination. They live in total darkness, under crushing pressure, moving slowly yet powerfully, huge, flexible, and extraordinary. Every new discovery is only a small slice of a much larger mystery, a reminder of how little we truly know. Are you ready to continue the journey into this mysterious abyss? Comment 1 if you want to explore more deep-sea giants and their incredible survival strategies. Comment 0 if you're not ready to face the giants hidden in the dark.